Hey guys, author Gabriella here, and this is me recounting my book signing in Tampa, Florida in the United States at Barnes & Nobles, where I was able to sign my newest book, Asphariens, the Elements, the English version, and my bilingual book, Whispering Willow, Saule Chuchotant. So for those of you who don't know what Asphariens or Whispering Willow is about, first of all, Asphariens, the Elements is a story that revolves around Rael, the main character, and a group of her friends who have to go on a journey across their world, Eleanor, in order to find 13 elemental crystals to save everyone from strange monsters known as Aurelias. And on their planet, Eleanor, like I just said a few moments ago, humans are blessed with the ability to gain one of 13 elemental powers like water, fire, earth, air, etc. And in Whispering Willow, or Saule Chuchotant, since it's a bilingual book, so you can read either the English version or the French version in the same book instead of getting separate ones, it's a story that talks about Gabri, the protagonist, who awakens in this world that she can no longer remember because she has amnesia due to a strange event that happened 3 years prior. And throughout the story, she has to go on an adventure across her world, Enchantia, in order to find a magical tree called the Whispering Willow that is said to be able to bring back memories. So as you can see right now, I'm signing a copy of my story as well as explaining kind of more of the background characters and what each story is about. And now, while I'm signing a copy of Whispering Willow Saule Chuchotant, let me quickly break down all of the main characters in the story before moving on to the main characters in Asphariens. So the main character in Whispering Willow, as we already know, is Gabri, the girl who lost her memories and who's determined to find this magical Whispering Willow tree at the core of her realm, Enchantia. Next up, we have Jen, who's kind of the oldest of the group, who apparently used to know Gabri before she mysteriously disappeared 3 years ago and lost her memories. We have Leo, who seems to be the closest to Gabri, but since she doesn't remember anything, he's probably the most distant to her. But he is also a knight, meaning that he protects the kingdom. Next up, we have Devin, who is also one of Gabri's friends, but she doesn't really have that much memories on him, despite the fact that he kind of likes pain in a weird way. And finally, we have Selena, who was probably another one of Gabri's closest friends, but since he lost her memory, she doesn't remember much about her, except for the fact that she uses a bow and arrow, and she always seems to be one step ahead of her. So now moving on to the main characters in Asphariens, Guardians of the Elements. First of all, we have our protagonist of the first volume, Rael, who is the character that we meet at the beginning of the story. And she also finds the strange diary that belongs to a guardian that leads her to finding Evan and Willow, who are two legendary guardians that were supposed to have been dead long ago in the Great War that happened 500 years ago, but somehow they're still alive. And her other closest friends, Rael's closest friends that she met at the School of Alastrium before this strange monster outbreak and before she was thrown into a war to find these elemental crystals, were Aki and Kira. Kira is more of the hot-headed one, and Aki is more of the fun guy who really tries to lighten up the mood. But as we learn more about them, we realize that maybe they weren't as shallow as we thought. So as always, I left a few signed copies of Asphariens, Guardians of the Elements here at the Barnes & Nobles in Tampa, Florida, because unfortunately all of the copies of Whispering Willow were sold out. So make sure you stop by to grab your copies so you can experience the magical world of Eleanor. And if you aren't able to come by here, my books are always available at any major online bookstore.